Hello, students. Once again, welcome back to English Literature Classroom. Today, I am going to give the theme of the poem Death Be Not Proud, written by John Donne. Before giving the theme, let me tell you something about the poet and the poem. John Donne was John Donne wrote poems on different subjects and in various styles: lyrics, sonnets, love poems, religious poems, elegies, songs, and satires. Most of his poems have dramatic openings and extensive and creative use of literary devices such as irony, pun, paradox, exaggerated comparisons, and extended metaphors. Now, let me tell you something about the poet. Death Be Not Proud by John Donne is one of the 19th holy sonnets published in 1633 in the first edition of Songs and Sonnets. This lyric directly addresses death, raging defiantly against its perceived haughtiness. The poet debunks the belief that death is victor, explaining that it cannot kill human beings. It can merely provide rest their very bodies and free their souls to heaven. Now, let me tell about the theme of the poem. Explain with example the central theme of the poem, Death Be Not Proud. The first and foremost theme of the poem is the insignificance of death. Death is generally perceived as something that is terribly feared, and no one seems ready for it. But in this poem, the poet has asserted that death has no real power. Although some people consider it mighty and dreadful, the poet feels it is nothing to be feared. The poet tells that the person does not die even when death apparently takes him her away. The poet goes on to tell that it is not human beings who are the subject of pity, but death itself is. The poet then goes on to elaborate on the theme of powerlessness, on insignificance of death by describing those characteristics of death that are nothing to be feared or proud of. First, death is heightened version of sleep. One does not feel afraid or miserable at the prospect of losing consciousness of one's body in sleep. In fact, sleep is seen as a state of rest and rejuvenation at the end of a laborious day. Similarly, death is a reprieve for the physical selves of human while their souls move on to the eternal afterlife. Second, death has no power as it cannot determine its own course of action. It is completely at the mercy of impersonal and unpredictable forces. Another theme of the poem is courage in death. The poet forces death with defiance. He is not sad that death will not ultimately put an end to his history. He is even not bothered what comes after. He is confident that even after a brief sleep, he will awaken into a much better eternal life. Death has no hold on his decision or choices and cannot take his life. Although many people believes death is mighty, the speaker dismisses any superiority attributed to death. He is sure that he will be victorious over death. Up to this much. With this, I am concluding this video. In my next video, I am going to bring something new. Until then, goodbye.